Back to ahead of NWA's Always Ready pay-per-view. I'm here with AJ Cazana. AJ, how are you doing today?
I am fantastic. I just pulled up to a show and I'm energized and ready to go for this weekend. That's for sure.
Obviously, like how prepared do you feel right now going into this three-way tag match with your guest tag team partner, the Fixers, and then the Mortons, obviously.
Well, this will be the first time me and Anthony have tagged together, so that's always fun and always an experience when you get to tag with somebody for the first time. As far as the Mortons are concerned, I'm pretty prepared for both of them. I've met and dealt with both of them quite a bit, and the Fixers are that does worry me a little bit. I don't know if you know this, but I'm 6'2", roughly 295, 300 pounds, and I don't get into the ring often where I'm the smallest dude or one of the smallest guys in the ring. So that one does worry me that I'm going to have to use a little bit of speed and deception, which isn't in my wheelhouse usually, but it might have to be this weekend. So
Obviously, like I love asking wrestlers like these types of questions, like before matches or before you will find out, who you're facing. Do you ever watch like I guess tape of like their work?
I have probably watched more Ricky Morton matches than I would like to admit. Most of his, Rock and Roll Express stuff. And I enjoy watching the fixtures work, believe it or not, and get to watch them wrestle because they're just big bruising men who run around and scream "fixtures" really loud. So it's hard to look away when they're wrestling. I usually don't. I'm pretty well versed in other people's wrestling abilities, and I've watched a lot of wrestling, so I don't do it on purpose. It just kind of happens. Ricky's the only one I could say, yeah, I've watched him on purpose multiple times. So
Obviously this is a three-way tag team match. So how much, tag team wrestling have you been like influenced by throughout your whole career?
well, when I started, I was in a tag team, so I've been around tag team wrestling a ton. My dad was a part of a tag team known as the Paradise City Rockers way back when, um, and tag team wrestling really influenced a lot because I watched a lot of Midnight Express, a lot of the Brain Busters, a lot of the older guys like that, that generation of wrestlers of tag team wrestling, especially. Um, so probably more tag team wrestling than actual like individual singles wrestling uh, in the past. So it's been a big influence on what I do, and of course I love watching the Four Horsemen. So that's been a big influence in my career.
So the question that I have from my producer, he says, "What feelings come to mind working NWA, a place your father wrestled in over 30 years ago?"
I mean, there's definitely a sense of pride in it. Not only did my father wrestle there in the '80s, late '80s, early '90s, but like my great grandfather ran under their umbrella way back when. I want to say starting like the '50s to the '70s. So our family's got pretty solid ties with the National Wrestling Alliance. When I got the opportunity, I was definitely going to make the most of it, and there's a lot of pride wrestling for them. There's a lot of nervousness every time I step in the ring because I want to be at the top of my game all the time. I want to be ready to go. And I just don't, I just want to put on and rest. I just want to do good, for the Cazana family and the Cazana name. Because I'd like to continue this legacy, no pun intended, um, with the National Wrestling Alliance and keep building my brand and their brand and get all of us back to the national prominence and that it was back in their heyday. So there's tons of pride, tons of anxiousness, nervousness. Every time I step into the ring, I'm always like jittery with nerves or feelings, um, just because I want to be the best, basically.
And obviously being with NWA, what has it been like? I guess being backstage with such amazing people and those that have the producing agents and then production team. How has it been like being around those people?
Um, The agents are incredible. I've had the opportunity to work a ton with Medusa, and then Homicide was my agent for a match or two, and Medusa's really cool to work with, really easy. They're all there and they're all available. Even if they've got other matches for you to go pitch ideas off of and ask them questions. Um, the producers are all great. Love talking to them. Love dealing with like the locker room NWA. This is one of the coolest things about it is that it's like a family. It's one of the nicest, one of the chillest, one of the coolest like places I've been in my entire life as far as wrestling locker rooms, or even like when I played football. Like I remember the camaraderie that there was when I played football at UT or when I played in high school, and walking in and knowing that like that somebody there is going to be happy to see you. You know what I mean? Like I mean, there's 100 people there, but you know, just somebody there is always happy to see you, or there's somebody that you've not seen in a while, and it's a giant family, and then you've got your old heads. I'll say that in quotations, like you've got Nick Aldis, Tom Latimer's around, Tyrus, or Trevor Murdoch, like all these guys there that are willing to offer you advice if you'll listen, or even just watching matches, sitting near them, they'll tell you like Jack Stain has told me so much, just from sitting and watching a match that he's talking to somebody else about. Same thing with Tyrus. I heard things from Tyrus that was like, oh, well, I could use that for myself, even though he's not talking about me. But they spill a ton of knowledge without knowing. Aaron Stevens is a wealth of information, and I'm very blessed to be a part of it. And honestly, it's one of the best places I've been as far as the locker room is concerned, as far as everything is concerned. But I definitely enjoy every time I step into that locker room.
And obviously, he's talking highly about these agents. If you ever like have a problem or if you want to incorporate some sort of move into the match, who is like the number one person that you always go to?
Well, for me personally, it would be whoever's agenting my match, because I do a lot of things that other people do. Now I do a different variation of them, sure, but um, I don't want to hit a top rope elbow if Nick Aldis is wrestling on the same card. I don't want to hit the heart punch if Tyrus is wrestling on the same card. But so normally it'll just run up the chain of command, like, hey, I'll go tell my agent I'm thinking about doing this. Can you check and see what WPC, William Patrick Corgan, see what he's got, if he's cool with it, or if that's a big point in a story that they're trying to tell, then we can't do it because it kind of takes away from the story that another match is trying to tell. Especially if it's somebody else's established move. It'd be like going to a show with Arn Anderson and trying to do the spine buster. And you doing it before him and him coming in the back or meeting you at the curtain and slapping the piss out of you. Because that's Arn Anderson's thing. But as far as like asking for, you just ask and they'll tell. And then sometimes like Chris Silvio gave me the idea to do the gourd buster, the old school gourd buster, the inverted suplex, some people call it. And I loved it. And I've kept it in my moveset since. So shout out to Chris for that, because I would have never thought of that.
And obviously, it says here that you were trained by Tom Pritchard, and Tom Pritchard has trained a lot of, big names, Natalia, Beth Phoenix, and many other people who
The
have
Rock,
gone
Kurt
on.
Angle, all those Hall of Famers.
Exactly. So what is it like, being trained by somebody who has trained people that have gone on to bigger and better things?
Tom Pritchard's stamp of approval means a ton in the wrestling business. So even if you just go get trained by him, that doesn't mean that he's going to be like, yeah, that guy's the guy. But continuing to work with him and I thrive on coaching. I love being coached. I love being told the truth. I love being given information that's going to make me better. And he's the best. Like I won't tell him this to his face because he hates it, but he's the best trainer in the world, period. Point blank. If I'm sure there's other great trainers out there, but they're not Doc. And being coached by him was one of the coolest things. The first 12 weeks, you don't know if he hates you or loves you. He just yells sometimes, and sometimes he'll just look at you like you're dumb. but I've been very fortunate enough to go back for some advanced training or just go back to stop in and check in and just to talk. Like sometimes I get more out of listening to him coach his class than I do actually getting in the ring and bumping. But I've been very fortunate to develop somewhat personal relationship with Doc, where I know if I called him right now, he would answer. And if I was saying, "Hey, I've got this idea," he would probably tell me it was stupid regardless. And then because most of my ideas typically are pretty dumb, and then he would help me make it better. So it's really, really cool to have um, that source just at a text away. Right now, I think he's training the class, so he might not answer. His phone might actually be on silent, but um, very, very fortunate to have been put into that position and get the opportunity to train with Doc.
What's like the number one piece of advice that, Tom Pritchard has given to you that stuck with you throughout your whole career, basically?
Well, there's tons of advice that he's given us, but he always uses there's a few different, like, I guess, phrases that he uses. One is, like there's my way, there's your way, but there's no right way when it comes to pro wrestling. There's like different flavors of ice cream has been an analogy that he's used a lot. So like people have different taste in professional wrestling. Some people like the more cinematic stuff. Some people like the old school bruising NWA style stuff, and some people like the lucha and lucha style and all that. And then the other one was like when you go fishing. Okay, like when you go fishing, you don't put a block of or like a slice of apple on. I love apples. You wouldn't put a slice of apple. You'd put a worm because you're fishing. That's what the people or what the fish like is the worm. So it's not necessarily what I like as a wrestler. It's what my crowd likes, what my crowd enjoys, and um, those three things. I mean, he of course he said lots of things that probably have gone in one ear and out the other, and that'll slip my mind for the rest of my life until I hear them again. But those three things in particular are probably the best. Like there's your way, there's my way, there's no right way. There's the safe way, and then there's the unsafe way. But your way, my way, no right way, kind of thing. And then there's three types of people in this world. This is the biggest thing it resonates most with me. There's three types of people in this world. He'll tell you this every time that you say something. There's those who try, and when they fail, they say, "Oh, well, at least I tried." And then there's those who do their best, and when they fail, they said, "Well, at least I did my best and gave it my best shot." And then there's those that do whatever it takes. And he said, "Which one are you?" is always how he finishes it. Like his questioning and his statements is, "Which one are you?" And if you look like guys like Dwayne Johnson, The Rock did whatever it took. A lot of those guys that made it and a lot of those girls that made it did whatever it took. And that's the big one I think that I would take away from Doc. Try, do your best, whatever it takes. So,
Obviously, you've been around the independent circuit as well. OVW. OVW has created a lot of, big names in
mm-hmm.
WWE and many other promotions. Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton, Shelton Benjamin, John Cena, many others. So what was it like, going around the independent circuit, but mainly OVW, knowing that a lot of people have come out through that system and created like a career for themselves?
The independents have been incredible. Like I said, I'm sitting at a show right now. I've already talked to the promoter before I got here and told him I was going to be here with you guys. But there's being around wrestling shows like this is AML Wrestling, America's Most Loved Wrestling, based in North Carolina, who does WrestleCade every year or helps out with WrestleCade. Going to a lot of places like this, I'm very fortunate now to be able to choose a lot of places I go. And I enjoy wrestling, so I'll go anywhere, but I've been very blessed with some of the places I get to go. OVW was fun when I went. I went up with my buddy Gustavo Aguilar, who's also been on the NWA broadcasting, just to go once. And, I got to wrestle a couple OVW wasn't my cup of tea, but I did learn a ton from Doug Basham and Al Snow as far as like TV stuff, times, making sure the stuff that Doc always taught me, just they reiterated it as far as hard cam placement, working towards the camera and all that stuff. But when you walk into the building and you see the pictures of the John Cena's and the Brock Lesnar's and the Randy Ortons on the wall, and there is a lot of history in that company, and it does, it makes you feel good that you got an opportunity to go step foot in the same, the same company that those guys started in, and eventually made their way up to the big show, the Fed. So it's OVW was a cool experience. I definitely enjoy the independent scene a lot. The traveling kind of gets, tiring, but I've been to 10 different states now, 10 or 11. I'm working on the rest of them. So it's been an experience for sure, but I've had a lot of fun.
Obviously, you've got NWA Always Ready pay-per-view, tomorrow. So what is your mindset right now, and how pumped are you to, be in a match, in a three-way tag match with the Fixers and then the Mortons?
I've got chills going through my body right now thinking of Always Ready, thinking of the show that's happening tomorrow night, and I can see the chill bumps coming up on my legs and my arms right now, because I'm from Knoxville, Tennessee. This is my Knoxville debut. So it means even more to me because, one, this is the company that my dad and my great grandfather worked for. Two, this is my hometown. Three, I've been lucky enough that they've given me an opportunity to be on the show, especially in a triple. Stepping in the ring with Ricky Morton, every time I step in the ring with Ricky Morton is a new experience and a new learning opportunity, because he's a pool of knowledge that just doesn't dry up, and I'm ecstatic. I'm so excited to be there. We're in North Carolina at Winston-Salem right now at AML, and we've talked, me and my buddy Gustavo, we've talked about just, we have to go buy our apartment on the way home. We may just stop, just get our clothes, and then just head straight to Knoxville so we can be there as early as possible in the morning. We're both more than excited, I am still shaking, and my chill bumps, everything. I'm ready to go. I am always ready, but I'm definitely ready to wrestle in Knoxville for the first time.
AJ, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day to do this interview. Let the people know where they can find you on all social medias, where they can find NWA and all that good stuff.
Absolutely. AJ Cazana is on all social media platforms. Twitter and TikTok, I believe, are both at AJ Cazana. Instagram is AJ Caz1. Facebook, my page is facebook.com/the Rookie of the Century. You can find me on all platforms. I post as much as possible, all those. Twitter's really weird sometimes, so I tend to stay away from there, but I'm trying. NWA is on Fite TV tomorrow night. The pre-show, I think, is at 7. The main card starts at 8. Pre-show's free on YouTube. Fite TV gets the whole pay-per-view. They'll get all the NWA power tapings. NWA USA comes on YouTube every Saturday at noon. There's tons of opportunities to watch NWA wrestling, and if you're not watching it, I think you're missing out on one of the better products today. So get on that. Oh, I also have YouTube. It's AJ Cazana or something. I just started posting some stuff on there, so it's a lot of fun.
All right, guys, make sure you follow AJ on all his social medias. Make sure to keep up with NWA. NWA Always Ready pay-per-view streaming live on Fite TV at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. AJ, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day.
Thank you guys for having me.